let me just read this request that I got here from this gentleman. So I put it in the description. It says, "I've become stagnant in my current life setup and looking for a second home to help support my growth as a man. I'm 34, lived in the U.S. most of my life, moved to Thailand 2 years ago, have enjoyed it thoroughly, but now desire a new mountain climb." It's always that way when you're chasing excellence. It's the climb to the top that you enjoy. Once you get to the top, it's like, oh look, there's another mountain over there. Let's go over and check that out. That's what winners do. That's what playing to win is all about. He goes on to say, "I'm worth 8 figures. My business is remote, single, no kids, 5'11", handsome and fit, speak English and a bit of Spanish." He says, "Thailand is easy mode. Have dated pageant girls, models, etc. Considering somewhere in Europe, since cities and demographics are more polished and elegant, also have much more competitive environments. Plan on building a family in 5 years or so." He said he's 34, so I got 39, 40. "Where do you think I should plant my second flag to complement Southeast Asia? Thank you for everything." All right. Um, so where can we begin with this one? So just turn down this volume knob over here for the headphones. Um, where do we begin? Let's just kind of think this one through, because I was just literally in Sardinia, which is an island south of, I think it's Corsica, and west of the I guess, boot in the football if you're looking at the map. Um, I've put myself kind of in a similar situation where I'm looking at. I mean, I've talked about this before many times, so been around for a while. You've heard me say this. I'm looking to get the hell out of Canada and get myself in a place where taxes are reasonable and men are treated better. Masculinity is respected and admired. So I get the whole movement to find more favorable grounds where you're treated. Thailand is I get lots of positive feedback on Thailand. I had Tony Huge on, Plain to Win podcast just before I left. It was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he's got some crazy stories, man. That guy, he was a lawyer in California, and he basically sold his, law firm, went over to Thailand, and he hasn't left since, and he's on this, like, life project or game to create a harem of women and, have a whole bunch of babies, and he's got some friends there. He's got a real interesting story. He's all into, like, bodybuilding chemistry and biohacking, stuff like that. You can go check that out on the Entrepreneur channel. But he wasn't what I expected. I didn't know that he was into certain things, i.e., like ladyboys, so I thought that was interesting. But our friend here is asking the question, like, where in Europe would you set a second flag to complement Southeast Asia? And I get this, thrown at me a lot, man. Like, where do you go? Like, what would you do, Rich? Like, what's your plan? What's your angle? And I think the questions that you got to be asking yourself are probably things along the lines of, what do you like? First of all, what are your tolerances for taxes and how the state is going to treat you and extract wealth from you? Because let's be honest, that's all taxes are. I mean, when you get to the nitty gritty of it and you start to understand, it's like, why do we pay so much in the way of taxes in countries like Canada, for example, when they can print unlimited money, right? Um, so we can go down some really deep, batshit crazy rabbit holes with tinfoil hats, but that's that's one of the first questions I'd be asking is, where can I set up this flag where, if I'm going to live there, and that's probably going to be one of the permanent places that I spend time at, but I structure my life in such a way that I'm not allowing the state to steal my wealth from me. Simple question. What do you like? Do you like beaches? Do you like mountains? Do you like mountains and beaches? Do you like cold weather? Do you like warm weather? Do you like skiing? Do you like damp weather? Do you like humid weather, dry heat? A lot of questions that you want to ask that I would have to answer for myself when I make my own decision, but yours is probably going to be different from me. So there's some things that I would ask there as far as climate, culinary, food. Like, what is the food like where you live? Because there's some countries, like, if we're being honest, that don't have the greatest cuisine. That's kind of shit. There's other countries that have really, really good food. Like, if you go to the Mediterranean area, you'll find that I think the top two rated countries as far as food would probably be Italy and like Greece. I found the food in Italy amazing, really good. The coffee there spoiled me. I can't even drink this shit over here anymore now. It's like I'm fucking ruined. I have to go get one of these, expensive stainless steel machines that, pop and all this stuff, and you get those nice Americanos or espressos. But drinking coffee there for like 2.5 weeks, it's like I'm ruined. Like I can't drink the stuff that they sell here anymore. It's just gnat's piss. Um, So there's things to contemplate, when it comes to lifestyle, like, what do you like to eat? What do you like to drink? Does that matter to you? To me, I really like Mediterranean food, especially Italian and Greek food. I'm probably more so inclined to enjoy, Greek for food more than Italian food, but that's just my palate. That's what I like. It's kind of what I grew up on too. So there's that. This guy's obviously single and he's looking to start a family in 5 years or so. So the other questions I'd be asking is, what women do you like? Now women are mobile. Like, you can pick up a woman from one country that you like and move her to another country that you like to live in. That's entirely plausible. But I think you want to plant yourself in a place where you're going to get the maximum exposure to the kind of gals that blow your hair back. So you'd be wanting to ask yourself questions like, are these the kind of chicks that I want to deal with? More specifically for this guy, because he's planning on building a family, is are these the kind of women that I can see as my children's mother, that I want to put some babies in? So that's a really important one too. Um, I don't know how much that matters to him. It looks like he's North American, so he gave me his link to his social media. I'm not going to share it, obviously, but he's exactly as he purports. A successful entrepreneur, holds up to the public on social media that he lives an interesting life, um, makes good money. From what I can tell from his lifestyle. And he's a handsome, fit guy. Like as he describes. So I'm sure he'll do just fine. The easy mode that you experience in Southeast Asia probably won't be the same as what you're going to experience in Eastern Europe. It's going to be a little bit more competitive, obviously, and depending on where you're going in Eastern Europe, you might have to deal with some more masculine guys than what you've dealt with or competed against in the past, i.e., lots of strong, virtuous, masculine Eastern European dudes, Russian dudes. They don't like you can't push these guys around, man. They're solid cats, if you know what I'm saying. Um, so culture and competition is probably something that you want to look at too. So we covered climate, food, taxes, women. Those would be the main things. I think that hobbies and interests should probably matter too. Um, I'm how can I put this? I I really have grown to have more and more of a distaste for shitty climates as I've gotten older, simply because you don't necessarily need to be there. And if you don't need to be there, then why are you there? Basically is the question that I'm asking myself, right? Which is part of the reason why I'm trying to get out of this train wreck that we live in here anyway. So those are a lot of things to contemplate, and to get to the point of like, what would I do? Or where do you think I should plant that second flag? If it was me, I'd set up tax residency in a country that is friendly, that you don't have to spend a lot of time in. There's different places you can do that. There's places in the Caribbean, Cayman Islands, Barbados has a plan where you only have to be there basically for like 1 day a year. Dubai obviously has their strategy, but Dubai is intolerable in the hotter seasons. Like most guys that I know that live there for tax reasons, they only are there for a short period of time and then they bug out. But you can still set up your company and your income and your lifestyle so that you're not paying anything in taxes. So those would be the places to incorporate as far as your financial life, because your ass doesn't need to be where. Sorry, your assets don't need to be where your ass is, right? Like you can set up your assets in a place like Dubai, which is central, to all of that. For example, to Asia and to Eastern Europe, and your ass can be in Poland, Latvia, Finland, wherever you want to plant it, at the end of the day. Um, so find what works for you. For me, it's warm weather, it's access to mountains, it's access to great roads, fast cars. Those are the kind of things that I would see myself enjoying. Probably, because oceans, sailboats, so islands. So I'd be looking around, obviously, the Mediterranean for stuff like that. Those would be my points that I would evaluate and consider if that helps. So hopefully that makes some sense. It's a puzzle with a lot of pieces. There's no go here and do this, cut and dry cookie cutter thing. And let's be honest, countries are a lot like women. they reserve the right to change their mind at any given time about how they're going to treat you or how they feel about you. You might receive a strong invitation or have a strong calling to a certain country or a certain region, and 10 years down the road, leadership changes. Maybe there's a military coup. Tax laws aren't as favorable. They might become hostile. There's countries that have turned from pleasant and comfortable and quiet to war zones. There's countries that have changed leadership and decided to take assets from expats. Like over time, their laws and regulations change. So I don't think any one place would be a good idea. But to this guy's point, like this is a second flag, so this is place number 2 for him. You'd want more than one passport. You probably want access to more than just one country so that you can maneuver if things do change. So there's also that to consider because over time, again, like women, countries reserve the right to change their mind at any given time. And 10 years down the road, what you thought was good may not be good. I can say that for Canada, right? Like my parents came here when I was young. I was born in the UK, and this was the place to go, right? It was either here or the States. And they came here mostly because my mom's mother, so my yeah, which is a Greek term for grandmother, lived here. So of course, she persuaded my dad because that's what men have always been told to do. Like, you do what's right. Happy wife, happy life, blah, 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 and all that sort of stuff. And they came to Canada. This is not the same place that I was a child in, that I grew up in. A lot of things have changed. The wokeness, the rainbows, the alphabet crowd, the pronouns, tax rates have gone through the roof. Your personal freedoms have been stripped and robbed from you in all areas of life. I'm not just talking about scamdemic stuff and the forceful jabs and like even laws for pleasurable things that we always enjoyed when we were kids, like driving fast cars. They've clamped down in areas so hard that whenever we do rallies now, we don't even do them in Canada. We go down to the States because one, I mean, the roads are very good in the Appalachian Trail, and two, the laws aren't quite as hostile in certain states. Virginia's a bit of a pain in the ass, but there's all these things that have changed over time. So you can't just say, this is the spot and it's got to be the spot going forward. That can change, and it probably will change for a lot of people. So keep that in mind. I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here and pin down below in the top comment. You'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.